Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. So, this one was requested of me. I don't know how many of you actually want this video, but at least somebody does. And you know me, if you request it, I'll try to do a video on it. So, this is going to be how I set up my Android handheld gaming devices. Uh, all I've done so far is when I came in this morning, I factory reset this, done the simple setup where I connect it to Wi Fi, pick my time zone, language, all that, and now we're here. No, I've done one more thing. I've gone in the settings, went down to display, went down to screen timeout, and I moved it to 30 minutes because 30 seconds just kind of bugs me. So, yeah, that's where we're. So, first thing we're going to do once we get to this point is we're going to swipe over one, and you'll notice all these preloaded emulators. Now, Anbernic, being the company they are, you got the Anbernic front end, which is absolute garbage, and I don't know why they put it on anything. It's horrible. They need to do something about that. I mean, seriously, Retroid's front end, it really feels like just a slightly cheaper Daigisho, but it works. Anbernic's front end is terrible. It's just terrible. Not only that, they give you all this, which is absolute trash. All of this is trash. I mean, these these emulators are old. You're lacking features. You don't need most of them because most of them are just going to be cores and RetroArch. So the first thing I do is I get in here and you get to watch it because this was requested. First thing I do is get rid of everything. Yep, just go through and do like I'm doing. I know it's going to take a minute. But we are doing it all. Goodbye. For one, I don't trust anything that's been just previously installed. I don't trust any of these. I don't know the versions. I mean, I'm sure I can find it, but I don't like it. So get rid of all. I mean, DuckStation's pretty simple, but I still don't trust wherever they got DuckStation. And then these old gameboy emulators. Oh my god. Let's go. This is nice and tedious. Go through and get rid of all of this. So while I'm doing this, as you guys know, I started running a Discord for my channel. Anybody's welcome in there. We have a few people now. I think we're like 10, 15 strong at this point. We mainly just hang out, talk about games. I'll talk about upcoming videos. I'll let people know when I release stuff. Not only that, on my Discord, I am 100% transparent. So when people ask me questions about my channel, things that normally don't get answered, I answer it. Like, what's my views? A channel as small as mine, what's it make in a month? I answer all those questions on my Discord. I'm open to all of it. Not only that, I am mainly there for help. If you need something, I am there to help you. If you're curious about buying stuff, where do I get the best version of this? Where do I get this? Is this a ripoff? Yes, I disable Anbernic AI also. We're also going to move Google Play over here. Yep, there's a third row. So I don't know what this app. What does this say? Aptoid. If you're not sure what it is, I've never used this Aptoid. You don't necessarily have to get rid of it. But what I'll do at this point is take all these little system apps, FM radio, music, gamepad tester, the things I will keep, calendar, All these I'll put in a folder. Clock. Calculator. I mean, you never know when you're going to need a calculator, right? Guide. I could probably get rid of that one, but I don't care anymore. Okay. So all those sit in a folder. Now, eventually, when I start populating this over here with my emulators and everything else I'm going to do, I'll move this folder one more to the right, and it'll be on its own, out of the way, permanently. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is jump into Chrome. Now, I'm probably going to move the device off screen real quick. Okay. So, first thing we're going to do is go grab the one thing you need to get right off the bat. Now, I can normally navigate there, but honestly, it's easier for me to just memorize github.com. Then you're going to go /IMRAN R98 / see where we're at. Then we're going to type in Obtainium / releases. There's probably easier ways to do it, but this is how I do it. Alright, now we're at releases for Obtainium, and we're going to scroll down to this smaller one. I know you can't see it very well, and my camera doesn't autofocus, but it's going to be this one that says App ARM64 V8A Releases APK. We're going to click that, and we're going to download it. And now it's going to warn us, and we're going to download anyway. Then we're going to open. It's going to tell us we can't. We're going to allow. Wait. Don't touch anything after you slide that over and allow. Let Obtainium install. Let that pop up. And then we're just going to hit done. Okay. Now, we're going to go back up. We're going to have it at github.com / and we're going to type in RJNY, which it did not type in RINY, but RJNY / why do I got stuff blocking? Okay, / now you're going to type in Obtainium again. Nope. Obtainium dash. So RJ or github.com / RJNY / Obtainium dash, not slash, dash emulation. One more dash. Pack. Go. Now we're over here at this GitHub, and we're going to scroll down. We're going to drop below where it gives you a list of emulators, a list of front ends, a list of PC emulation, utilities. Did I already pass it? Did I screw up here? Oh, releases. So once you get down there and go to releases, scroll down. Here we are. Now we want the second one on the list, Obtainium Emulation Pack, not dual screen. Now if you have a dual screen device, this is where you grab that. Grabbing the dual screen one will get it to where Azahar and all that, you can set it up for, you know, the typical top screen's the top screen, bottom screen's the bottom screen. But this is a single screen, so we're going to grab that one. Now we're not going to open it. We're done. We're done in Chrome. There we go. There's Obtainium. So now we're going to open it. You can allow Obtainium to send you notifications, but be warned, it notifies you quite often of stuff. So I typically don't allow it. I'm just going to hit OK here, OK here. There we go. Now we're in Obtainium. So we're going to do import, export. Then the third option, that long one at the bottom, says Obtainium import. And right there we'll see Obtainium Emulation Pack that we just downloaded. And we're going to click that. Now it'll say imported 42 apps. Now we're going to go add, oh, not add, sorry, we're going to go apps. Now here's where we're actually going to get our emulators, most of them. So right there we have Azahar, but I don't use this for 3DS. Citra, all that. Dolphin, we can go ahead and grab Dolphin. Hit install, let it do its thing. These go actually pretty quick. Now for my SD card, I pulled my SD card when I reset everything. Oh, you gotta allow from this source, sorry. Then go back and make sure Dolphin installed. Alright, I pulled my SD card, reset it. So my SD card's still populated with all my ROMs and everything. You know how these channels go. I cannot show you where to get ROMs. So if that's what you're looking for, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Okay? DuckStation. We're going to grab DuckStation. I know it's like, well, you just uninstalled DuckStation. You're right, I did. I don't trust where Anbernic got DuckStation. If they're using all those old emulators for Game Boy and all that, I don't know where the hell they got DuckStation. I don't trust them. So here you can get Eden, Flycast, Melon. There's Nether SX2. We're going to grab that. Let that install. Pico 8. Now typically you should grab PPSSPP right here. I don't, because years ago, around the first time it was available, I bought PPSSPP Gold. So I'll go get my own from Google Play Store. We're going to grab RetroArch. I know everybody's like RetroArch. I call it RetroArch. I don't care how anybody else pronounces it. That's how I pronounce it. Am I wrong? Probably. But I'm American. So I don't do the right thing. I just keep doing the wrong thing until it's right. Which is probably why we're hated. More details. Install anyway. Okay, so now that I tried to block RetroArch and I made it do it anyway. Let's go back in. See if anything else we want. There's Vita 3K. Right here, you can grab Daigisho. I don't... Look, I trust Obtainium, but I'm not grabbing Daigisho from them. You can grab WinLater, you can grab Game Hub, Game Native, all that, but I'm not going to. I've gotten everything I want from Obtainium, which is those. So now that we're populating this, I'm going to move this over here. Out of sight, out of mind. Now I'm going to pull this away again because I have to log in to my Google account. So I'm going to do that over here. Hopefully this guide actually helps somebody. Look, I'm not perfect at this. The idea and focus behind my channel is I like to do this stuff without editing out my mistakes. That way you can see what you're getting into. You can see what could possibly go wrong. And I'll deal with those mistakes. I'll deal with those problems right here. I also feel like I've recently updated all my password settings, so I'm in oh, yeah, I did. Uh-oh. Doing what I do for a living, you gotta remember, I have to keep probably 30 different passwords, you know, memorized at all times. Alright, now that I've allowed myself, I'll be using this device. I agree. Sorry, I'm almost done. No, don't back up service data. I'm reading it out loud so you guys know where I'm at. No, I don't want to take a tour. No, I don't want to see any of that. Okay, don't stop. Stop with the thing. Okay. Now we're in here on my Google, or on my, there we go. PPSSPP Gold. Install. Then we're going to grab Daigisho. Install. Now, typically when you install Daigisho, you're going to get, and I don't know why, you're going to get multiple little icons for Daigisho right there. See them? You don't really need them. You should actually get, after setup, you might end up finding a third one that says like Daigisho Recover or something. That's what this folder we made is for, everybody. When you get extras, when you get things you're not going to really use, grab it, throw it in that folder over there, out of sight, out of mind again. All right, so now we got that G-Show ready. Obtainium's done its job. I'm going to move Obtainium down, .G-Show up. All right. Now, here's where a lot of people make mistakes. I found this out pretty quickly on my first handheld, Android handheld I set up. I went into the front end. Everything started going haywire. I couldn't launch anything. It was acting stupid. I was beyond frustrated. But then watching a video, and this was years ago when I first started, watching a video, somebody by the name of Russ at Retro Game Corp, which changed everything for me, said launch your emulators first. So that's what we're going to do. So here we go, follow system theme. Right here you can change your internal resolution, everything. It's PS1, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Now we're going to import BIOS. Now everything on this should still be there. BIOS, PS1 BIOS, there it is. Okay, next, game directories. So this is all on your SD card. So all you're doing here is setting a file path for DuckStation to find the BIOS, games, all that. So we're at our SD card. You should have a folder named ROMs. You should have another folder named PS1 or PSX. Hit use this folder, allow. Hit next. This is for retro achievement or achievements. Setup complete. Hit finish. And then here you go. Now it's going to upload everything from that file path. It knows where all the ROMs are. This is going to grab us our games. Now we don't have to play it inside of DuckStation, obviously. We're just going to let it finish this. You probably don't have to, but I like to let it finish so I can see everything get set up. All right, that's it for DuckStation. Now, Nether SX2 or Aether SX2 is essentially the same. I just keep it at optimal safe. We're going to import BIOS. We're going to go to our SD card, to our BIOS folder, to our PS2 BIOS. We're going to pick our BIOS. There it is. Oh, where is the bin? I can't see it. Is it that one? Yep, cool. Got it. First try. Next. Game directories. Back to our SD card, ROMs. Select the PS2 folder. Allow. Next. Setup complete. Finish. And it'll do just like DuckStation. Now it's going to find all these. Now I do suggest going into these after you get your basic setup done and setting all your controls up. Go in and go ahead to each one and map your buttons, please. If you do automatic mapping, for me, PlayStation swaps square and circle. So I got to go in, even if I hit automatic, I'll go down and correct that. All right, create or choose PSP folder. This is in PPSSPP Gold. Over to our SD card, ROMs. Do I even have any PSP games? No, I never set up PSP games. Anyway, this is simple. I would just pick my PSP folder right here, and then it would move over to a next page and load them. So I didn't remember that I'm not doing PSP on this because of the screen. It's 4x3. I don't feel like running 16:9. I do that with a lot of handhelds. Like my 34XX at home is just full of GBA. My Funny Playing Retro Pixel Pocket, still absolutely fantastic handheld. Love that thing. One of the best thing you can get for $50. That device only has Game Boy and Game Boy Color on it. Alright, so where are we? We can do Dolphin real quick. No, I don't want you to do any reporting. Let's hit add games while we're under the GameCube option. ROMs. And all this is pretty straightforward, guys. It's all kind of common sense. There it is. That's simple for GameCube. All you're doing is taking the emulator and directing it to where you are storing your games or BIOS, for PlayStation BIOS and games. For almost everything else, just show it where your games are. Now we're going to do the same thing in Daigishow. We're going to jump into Daigishow and we're going to show it where to look for games for each system. Okay? Now, I can tell you this much. I don't remember what all consoles and systems I have on this SD card. One sec. I'm going to look real quick. I know I just seen it. Looks like, okay, my typical systems aside from PSP. Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, Genesis, N64, NES, PS1, PS2, and Super Nintendo. Alright, we were just checking. Alright, now that we're at this point, we've done Dolphin, Nether, DuckStation, PPSSPP to a degree. You shouldn't have problems with that one. It's the same thing. Show where the games are, follow the instructions on screen. You don't even need a BIOS or anything. It'll load it. Alright, now let's jump into the old RetroArch. Alright, grant access to external storage, yes, allow. Boom. Alright, so now we have to load our cores. We're going to download a core. Sometimes I pick the wrong core. That is not catastrophic. If you pick the wrong core, and I've shown it in other videos, you can go into Manage Cores, remove the core you picked, and pick a different one. How do you know you've picked the wrong core? You'll go to launch a game for that system, say Nintendo, NES, and the screen will stay black or RetroArch will crash. If it does any of those things, you have a core that's not working. You need a different core. So let's scroll down and begin. And like I said, I don't typically remember all the time because I set these things up once and then I never go back in the setup. So let's do this. Now, we don't need PlayStation, we don't need PlayStation 2, we don't need PSP, we don't need anything from GameCube. Those are all on a standalone. Standalone means we're using something outside of here. Whereas RetroArch will host the cores for Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Genesis, all that. I'm even going to use it for N64. The other systems are on their own. They're being controlled by the apps I downloaded for them. So PPSSPP, Nether, DuckStation, and so on. Alright, even you see you got DS in here, you don't even want that. Okay, if I remember right, I want that. It'll download the core. It says core installed. Let's drop down to Game Boy Advanced. So now we have Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advanced. Don't need GameCube. Okay, this I never remember on NES, but I'm going to go with Nestopia. N64, Mupian 64 Plus, GLES3 is the one I believe I use. Super Nintendo. I'm just going to take SNES 9X. I don't ever remember which one I used for that one either. But we're going to find out. If I get them wrong, you'll watch me change out the core. Like I said, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to just try it. Sega, I'm going to take Genesis plus GX wide. I can grab Saturn, all that. I don't really have Saturn games or Dreamcast games that I have a love for. Not that they're bad systems, they're just nothing I've ever played, really. I don't have any, I couldn't tell you any games off those systems that I particularly love. Alright, so now DuckStation is done. Dolphin's done, Nether's done, RetroArch is done, and PPSSPP Gold, done-ish, you get it. So now we're going to open Daigishow. And we'll stop here, it'll jump you straight into widgets. Now, mind you, I will show you how to do it, but you can set your handheld to launch into Daigishow as your home app, okay? That way you turn it on, you're in here. Now, don't worry. You still have access to all your apps. I can stay in Daigishow and still access the Play Store, Chrome, whatever I need. I have everything I need right here in Daigishow. This is a wonderful front end. I know there's a bunch out there, people like Emulation Station and all this other stuff. I have been using Daigishow from my first handheld to now, and I don't plan on changing. I absolutely love this front end. Alright, so let's go over to library. And we're going to hit the download platform button. This is where we're picking what systems are going to be shown. Now, after you install or download platforms, this option to download platforms will be moved all the way to settings. You'll have to go in there and add systems that way. So let's scroll down and find our systems. And here we go. We have N64, Nintendo Entertainment System, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, GameCube. Yep, we're picking them all because this is just what's being shown. So it doesn't matter that I'm using DuckStation, doesn't matter that I'm using Dolphin or RetroArch. The IG shows the front end. This is where you're just picking what's shown. So pick all of them. Pick everything you're using, or everything you have games for, I guess. Sega Genesis, PlayStation 2, Super Nintendo. I feel like I missed one. Did I get GameCube? I did. Okay. Import. Boom. So now we have them all. Alright, so we are now almost done. We have all the standalones set up. Showed them where to get games from our SD card. Now we've downloaded the platforms in IG Show, so now we can see all of our systems. But there's no games in them yet because IG Show doesn't know where to look. So we're gonna hit every system you're gonna use. You'll hit that path button right there. It says paths. Okay. It'll say synchronization path, click to remove. We don't want to do any of that. On the bottom right, and I'm trying to show it, you see right here, it'll say add more. We're going to click add more. And just like with the standalone emulators like DuckStation, we're going to navigate to our SD card, ROMs. Now this is the Game Boy system, so we're going to go Game Boy, and we're going to hit use this folder, allow. Then we'll be back here, and now we can see our file path. It even says tree / then the ID number / the ID number ROMs / Game Boy. You see it? Now we're gonna hit sync. There it is. Now right there you can see it syncing. It is reading all the games, and it'll instantly begin scraping box art. There they are. Now, the only issue with IG Show is that automatic box art scraping. It'll only scrape, I think, 4 or 5 systems at a time. But you can still go through and set up your file path. It's just not going to scrape all those until it's done with something. So it'll queue up 4 or 5 and scrape all those at the same time. But once we get down to like Super Nintendo, it won't scrape. It'll just wait. But once one's done, it'll start going on another. So Game Boy Advance, path. Add more, ROMs on our SD card, GBA, use this folder, allow, sync. That's going. Now we're just going to move over. Game Boy Color, path, add more, in our SD card, Game Boy Color, use this folder, allow, sync. GameCube, path. I like how the lighting has changed now in the room because of the way I got it tilted. Add more. Wait. Yep, see there I go forgetting what I was just doing. GameCube. Add more. Let's go to our SD card. ROMs. GameCube. Use. Allow. Sync. Genesis. Path. Yes. I know I'm calling out each one. Because you guys want to see how it's done, I'm showing you how I do it all. Allow. Sync. I'm actually hoping I got one of the cores wrong in RetroArch so I can show you guys how to change the core out. N64, path, add more. N64, use folder, allow, and sync. NES, path, add more. NES, is that where it was? I always forget my system. Yes, sync. Next, PS2, path, add more. SD card, ROMs, PS2, use this folder, allow, sync. PlayStation, path, add more. We're almost there, guys. PlayStation 1, use this folder, allow, and sync. Now, Super Nintendo, path, add more. ROMs, Super Nintendo, use this folder, allow, sync. There we go. Now we're syncing up everything. Now, if I go all the way back to Game Boy and I hit this little pencil button, this little edit, I can see the name of everything, visible platforms, scrape, wallpaper settings. Now right here, player settings, it shows that I'm using RetroArch 64 and the Gambat core. So if you ever have issues, now it should recognize the core because it's getting this info from RetroArch. If you ever have issues and you have to swap out cores and Daijisho is now starting to act funny, check here to make sure it's using the correct core that you have set in RetroArch. You shouldn't have to ever really do this. Even if you swap out cores, this should automatically change. You shouldn't have to worry about this. But in case you do, I wanted to show you where it's at. Okay, so we're just going to exit that. Now, time to test. Now remember, this is just now fresh setup. So simple things like my aspect ratio, color palette, shaders, controls, none of that have been set up. Alright, we're just at the point where we're functional. You see how we have some games though that have box art? Yay us. So let's jump into a game. Double Dragon, there we go. So now we see we still have touch controls and everything, which when I use Daijisho for stuff like this, I will go in and adjust my aspect ratio and use the full screen. But when it comes to touch controls, I'll just hit the down arrow. And then I don't have to worry about setting up hotkeys and none of that. You know, I don't got to worry about none of that stuff. Now I can just go like this, go in that. Oh, look, there we are. Now I can resume and get rid of that. So for systems like this, it's really simple. Hit some fast forward, get myself killed real quick. That's working. Let's exit. So now Game Boy is fully functional. Let's do GBA. GBA is looking functional. Now for GBA, I will probably get rid of that because I don't like that in the actual play area. See how I can see it? So I will go in and set my GBA controls, get rid of all that, get rid of touch, and I'll set up the hotkeys, resolution, all that. But as for now, this is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see that it's working. And it is. I have control. I have everything I need. So I'll deal with RetroArch. I'm not going to cover RetroArch settings in this video, okay? Everybody's going to have a different preference for that. How you like your controls, what you set for a hotkey. Everybody's going to be different. Do yourself a favor. Pick a handheld, go into RetroArch, and play around with some of the settings. Learn how to use it. Learn how to use different configurations. Learn how to go in there, make sure your device is connected, and download the cheat menu or the cheat options if you want. You know, do you experiment, play around with it, learn. Okay. So right now we're just getting basic function going. All right, we're in Game Boy Color. Looks like our Game Boy Color core is working perfectly fine also, which it should have been because it's the same one being used for regular Game Boy. So far we are 3 for 3. And now as for the standalones, we should be able to, there it is. It says right there, using Dolphin. Okay. Oh. Disc 1. All we want is the game to run in the background. There it is. Yeah, I can handle controls later. I don't remember how it's set. There it is, that button. So, overlay controls, edit layout. Oh, not edit layout. I always do that. overlay controls, toggle all. Bam, gone. Now I haven't obviously mapped buttons or anything, so it's going to be weird where you hit B and it pulls up the side menu. This is where you're going to go in the Dolphin by itself and button map everything for GameCube. You'll want to do that anyway. I mean, button mapping's boring. I'll show you guys how to do it a little bit here in a minute. We just want to make sure everything's working. So let's jump into Sega, make sure our Sega core is working. Oh. Looks like we might have a problem. Best part about the IG show is, even though it was scraping, I can still jump in and out, and it's fine. I can restart the scraper whenever. Let's see. Nope, it don't like that core. For the RGSlide, I'm just essentially holding this button. You can hold down a home button. See how it says it's not working? You can hold down a home button and get back here and not have to wait for it to fully crash. So let's jump into here and see what went wrong. So let's hit the gears, core settings, manage cores. And there's our Sega core. Looks like this core wants BIOS. I'm gonna get rid of that core. So now that we've deleted that core, let's go home, load core, download core, fetching core list. Let's go down to Sega. Here we go. Let's just try Genesis plus GX. Core downloaded and installed. Kill that. .g show. Yep, it's already changed that. Library. Let's try again. Ta-da! We now have working Genesis. See how easy that was? No harm, no foul. I picked the wrong core. I deleted the old one, added a new one. We're back in the game, everybody. We're going. We're here. It works. Do not be scared to make mistakes. It happens. My videos will never be perfect. Alright, let's check N64. See if we can't find another one that's not working right. Oh, I thought I was going to do it. But, nope. Looks like we're alive and well on the N64 verse here. Look at that. Next up, NES. This one I always get wrong too, but let's see. Nope, we're working well. Look at that. All the cores are looking good. So the only one we got wrong so far, or wasn't working, I guess, was the Sega core. PS2. Let's just launch something. Let's launch Donovan. This should work fine because it's standalone. Downloaded by Obtainium using Nether SX2 patch. There she is. In all its glory. Goodbye. Okay. Well, we got two more. Apparently, I didn't sync PlayStation. There it is. I was like, what the hell are you doing? Let's launch it. Like I said, it should just launch through DuckStation. Almost there. There it is. Working. That's all we need to see. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and play a game. I just want to make sure it's all working. Let's go Super Nintendo. Let's launch some ActRaiser. This is one I'm worried about. I get the core wrong all the time here too. Or pick a core that doesn't work. So, it's not like these are the only cores that work, everybody. You can experiment. These are the ones I use because, well, I know they work. and they have never caused me any problems. So there you go. There, we have a front end. We have everything going the way it needs to go. The system knows where to look for the games. The front end knows what we're using for each emulator and core, and it knows where the games are through the emulator into the SD card. It knows. We have now done it. Okay? So let's do some little side stuff. We're only going to do one or two. Let's jump into DuckStation. Let's pull this up. Let's go controller settings. Touchscreen control. Touchscreen view. We don't want a touchscreen. We're going to get rid of it. Port 1 controls. And we can go, remember, we can go automatic mapping and pick our device. Double check. D-pad up. Does it still say the same? Yes, it does. D-pad right. Yep. Okay, so they got that right. Button 100 for triangle. Nope. It's button 99. Circle. Button 97. Nope. Button 96. X. Button 96. Nope. Button 97. Square. Button 99. Nope. Button 100. See how backwards that was? Now we're here. Hotkeys. We got fast forward and all that good stuff. We don't need it. Okay. So now we should have everything mapped in DuckStation. So we could go into .gshow, launch a game. It'll launch it through DuckStation because the front end is our shell. It is housing everything. It's just a pretty little interface to look at. But you see how I don't have a touchscreen now? Because I made those changes in DuckStation. Oh, and my buttons work. So you'll do this for GameCube. You'll do this for all those. You'll go in, you'll map your buttons, and you'll be good to go. You should only have to map them once for each system. Wonderful. And if you haven't played it, Beyond the Beyond gets a lot of hate. That is a very wonderful game. I played it when I was a kid. I got it from a buddy at school. I forget what we did. I had an extra copy of Final Fantasy V or something, and I traded for Beyond the Beyond. And I never got to beat it as a kid because the disc was messed up, and I can only get to a certain part. And I've never gone back and beaten it, and I desperately want to. I had that kind of situation with 3 games growing up. Beyond the Beyond, Final Fantasy X. I was all the way at the final fight, and it kept crashing. Downfall, living in the age where everything was on those discs. And also, Breath of Fire 3. Now, Breath of Fire 3 didn't crash. I didn't know what to do with the Desert of Death, and this was pre-internet era. I mean, the internet existed, but no one really used it for stuff like this. I mean, it was there, but I didn't have access, I had the old Nokia phone with Snake. That was anyway. But I got stuck at the Desert of Death for 20 years, and, finally beat it one day. But Beyond the Beyond and Final Fantasy X are the last 2 games on that list of, 3 games that I need to finish off from when I was a kid. All right, let me think. There was something else I was going to do for you guys. I showed you going in, set up your controls. Yay. Okay, let's go settings, apps, .gshow. Let's back up. Default. Here we go. So in default, we can change our home app. Oh, back up you. Home app, and we can adjust that to .gshow. So now, even when we close this stuff, it puts us right back. Oh, look, see, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. You can't exit now. Now you're forever here. So if you ever want to change that, you just go to your apps, go to your settings here. Don't go to your settings here. This is .gshow settings. Go to apps, go to that settings, because that's for your device, and you can take .gshow off as your home app. So let me see here. There used to be, oh, you know what? I believe there's a way to set it up for these side buttons to switch. But I'm not going to mess with that actually right now. I don't want to. So let's give this a restart and see if it loads up in .gshow. And then we'll call it a successful video. Come on with the restart. There it is. Anbernic. Still not a super big fan of the slide, but if you guys caught my post where I was literally laying on my couch, like sideways, staring at I was watching a movie or something, and next to me I always have like a pile of handhelds and stuff, right? So next to my pile of handhelds, or I'm looking at them, yep, loads right into Digesho. Look how wonderful that is, and I could always change that if I want. I can go to the Play Store right here. I can grab Stardew Valley, all the games that I legally own, which I really do. That's not sarcasm. Stardew Valley. Read the story on how that got created. That guy deserves your money. Anyway, laying on the couch, look over, see the RGSlides case. I open it up, I pull it out. I'm playing with the slide, and I'm like, man, this thing could have been really good. This thing could have been amazing if only it was smaller and more lightweight. Why did it have to run PS2? And I look over again at something I'm watching, and right behind what I'm watching, I see my AYN Thor grip that I don't use. I didn't really care for the grip, but I didn't hate it. I went to Etsy and got a better grip for it that actually makes me feel comfortable about closing it, because the grip supports the lid even more when it's closed. So I ordered that grip. So now I have this extra AYN Thor grip laying around that I'm not going to use. Well, for fun, I always like to see what other handhelds fit one other grip. And I'm sitting there with this, and I slide it right into the Thor grip. And I grab it. I'm like, wow, that is more comfortable. It is not meant for this, so it's not perfectly comfortable. It's not super ergonomic and comfortable, but it makes it about 40% more tolerable. And yes, I've thought about this number, 40% more tolerable. The reason it's not higher is because it blocks this, and it blocks about 3/4 of your fan back here, because the grip's not meant for this. So I'll never use that grip and play GameCube and PS2 on this device, but I might use that grip and play up the PlayStation 1, because we can have devices like the 24XX and all that, well, yeah, they can play PlayStation 1, and there's not really too much of an issue, and this will still have some access to the fan. Also, this still slides shut perfectly fine with that grip on. It's not impeding anything at all. It is perfectly fine. It's great. So 40% more comfortable makes this handheld doable for me. I know this video ain't about that. I just wanted to add that in. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for this one. Look at us. We have a working front end, working emulators, working games. Final note here. If you do like I did, where you're messing around, you're jumping in and out of Digesho, you see how it's not scraping any longer? Just go over to path and hit sync again. And it'll run through them, make sure all the games are still there. It'll update your games list, and you'll see here if I've added anything or whatever. And now it'll start scraping again after it does that. If you pull your SD card out and you add more games to any of these systems, when you put the SD card back in, before you do anything else, hit path and resync the system, because Digesho is going to keep your old game list. Yep, it will. And even if you remove games, which is a downfall to Digesho, that if I remove games and I stick it in there, the title might still show up, and I'll click on it later and it'll be like, whoop, can't find the ROM, and then I'll have to manually delete that title out of there. But if you add games, they will not show up until you resync that system, okay? And then there's a new download button right there. Okay, sorry, I'm just messing around now. Look at that. Platforms, it's down there. I said earlier it was in settings, which it is, but you can also just hit that little right above select and back, and below the edit icon it says download. You can tap that and add more platforms or remove. Alright, guys. Well, tell me what you think. Was this helpful? Are you ever going to use this guide? Shut up. Are you ever going to use this guide at all? I don't not recommend my guide. My guide gives you a perfectly functional working Android device. There's other guides out there. They'll use other front ends. They'll make things more flashy. They'll show you all this and that. Wonderful. This is my most basic setup. This is before I get in and customize every different system's aspect ratio, buttons, what I want, you know, hotkeys. This is before that. This is bare minimum working setup. This will get you through. This will get you every game you want to play. Just get you going. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're having trouble, please let me know. If there's something I can help you with, let me know. For everybody that's typing out advice right now on, hey, you should do this or you should try this, I've probably tried it. I know this is how I like to do things. Is there easier ways to do this stuff? More than likely. I do things the easy, hard way. By that, I do it the way I know how to do it. Even if I take the long way in some cases, I'm going to do it my way because it's the way I'm comfortable with. It's the way I know everything's going to work and I'm not missing anything. It is a process that I do. And once you get that in this handheld world here and you develop your own process for setting these up, it'll become quick. It'll be comfortable. You'll know what you're doing. Don't be scared to play with it. Don't be scared to get into the settings and try new things and see what things do. Can you find a setting that's going to completely screw you over? Yes. But that's what we roll the dice for. That's the gamble. If you don't completely screw yourself, guess what? You're getting better every time. And that's what you should be striving for, really. All right. Well, it's the start of a new week, guys. Honestly, don't know what. Oh, no. I ordered that mini long pocket one, mini long. I can't say long. It's 2 O's. It's lung. Mini lung pocket one to test. It really feels like a complete waste because it is the size and shape of a Pocket Air Mini, just less powerful with a not as good screen. Not that the screen's shit, I don't know, but it's just not as good. And it's in the same price category. It also pisses me off that the thing launched at $40 to $50, and once it caught any traction, it is $80, $90. I didn't think about that when I ordered it, or I wouldn't have. So honestly, don't know what to tell you on that. When companies do stuff like that, when they jack up their prices because they got some notoriety or they got a little bit in the spotlight, I think they should be absolutely shunned for that. They should be ignored if they do that. So if this handheld goes above that $80, $90 price point, which I'll leave as acceptable, if it goes above that price point, do not buy it. No, don't. Not worth it. Don't let companies get away with that. That's nonsense. We don't do that. Do I think it's worth $80, $90? I don't know until it comes in. Hopefully it shows up this week and we can do a review. Other than that, we'll just do some random stuff throughout the week. All right, guys? As always, I will post a link to my Discord in the description. Come by if you need help. If you're running through my guide and you run into issues and you want to talk about it or you need help with something, please stop by my Discord. I'm trying to be very welcoming to everybody. I am on there the whole time. I'm at my day job, so at least 8 to 10 hours there. And then there's like an hour or two break. And then I get home and I open up my Discord. I try to be available as much as I can for everybody. And like I said, my channel is fully transparent. If you have questions, if you need help, if you're curious, come over to the Discord and talk to me. I will help you with whatever I can. Also, other guys that are in my Discord, they have a channel that they started, and we're there to support each other. So when they release a video, I tell everybody in my Discord, hey, another fellow gamer in our Discord released a video. Go check it out. Let's support everybody. All right? All right, everybody. Check out the link for the Discord. It should be open or whatever. Come in, say hello. We're not, it's a small number, so it's not like you're going to pop in. There's going to be 5,000 conversations going. There's like 10 of us. It's going to be quiet. But we're there. As we grow, hopefully it gets more active. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.